In the last episode, the fate of our world hung by a thread as I faced off against the enemy's most powerful warrior. The battle raged on, with both sides trading blows and neither yielding an inch. But in the end, it was my determination that proved to be the turning point. My final attack struck true, and the enemy began to falter. I remember the rush of adrenaline as my friend seized the opportunity, launching a fierce counterattack that sent the enemy reeling. Together, we fought on, our bond and bravery driving us forward. The enemy's defeat was within our grasp, and with it, the promise of a peaceful world and a reunion with the loved ones I had lost. But that was then. Now, as I stand on the outskirts of the city, the silence is deafening. The once bustling streets are empty, the buildings scarred and battered. The air is thick with the acrid smell of smoke and ash. I can feel the weight of our victory, but it's tempered by the knowledge of what we've lost. I take a deep breath, the cool morning air filling my lungs. The sun is rising, casting a golden glow over the devastation. I close my eyes, letting the warmth wash over me. What have we done? The question echoes in my mind, a nagging doubt that refuses to be silenced. We fought for peace, for a world free from the enemy's tyranny. But at what cost? I open my eyes, my gaze falling on the figure standing beside me. Kale, my closest friend and ally, his eyes fixed on the horizon. His face is etched with lines of worry and fatigue. "What's wrong?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Kale turns to me, his eyes narrowing. "I don't know," he says, his voice laced with concern. "I've been feeling off ever since the battle ended." I frown, a shiver running down my spine. "What do you mean?" Kale hesitates, his eyes darting around us as if searching for something. "I don't know how to explain it," he says slowly. "It's like a presence watching us." I scan our surroundings, my senses on high alert, but there's nothing. No signs of danger, no signs of life. "It's just guilt," I tell him, trying to reassure. "We've been through a lot, it's natural to feel uneasy." Kale nods, but his eyes remain troubled. I can sense his unease, a growing sense of discomfort that I can't shake off. Suddenly, a faint hum fills the air. It's soft, almost imperceptible, but it's enough to make my skin prickle with unease. I turn to Kale, his eyes locking onto mine. "What is that?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Kale's face is set in a grim determination. "I don't know," he says, "but I think we're about to find out." We stand frozen, our senses on high alert as the hum grows louder. It's a low, vibrating frequency that seems to resonate deep within my chest. I can feel it like a heartbeat pulsing through my very being. Kale's hand reaches out, his fingers brushing against mine. It's a small, instinctive gesture, but it's enough to ground me. I take a deep breath, my eyes locked onto his. The hum stops and an oppressive silence falls over us. The air seems to vibrate with tension, heavy with anticipation. And then a figure emerges from the wreckage of the city. It's a woman, her face pale and drawn, her eyes sunken and dark. She's dressed in a tattered white robe, its hem stained with dirt and ash. She walks towards us, her movements slow and deliberate. Kale and I stand frozen, unsure of what to do as she approaches. "Who are you?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. The woman's eyes flicker to mine, and for a moment I see something there. A spark of recognition, a glimmer of hope. "My name is Ava," she says, her voice low and husky. "I was a scientist before the world ended." I frown, unsure of what to make of her words. "What do you mean?" Ava's gaze drifts away, her eyes fixed on some distant point. "I was working on a project," she says, her voice distant. "A way to restore the planet, to bring back the life that was lost." Kale's hand tightens around mine, his grip instinctive. I squeeze back, a small, reassuring pressure. "What kind of project?" I ask, my curiosity piqued. Ava's eyes snap back to mine, a flicker of determination in their depths. "A way to revive the planet's core," she says, her voice firm. "To bring back the energy that was lost." I feel a shiver run down my spine, a sense of wonder and excitement. Is this the answer we've been searching for? Is this the key to restoring our world? But as I look into Ava's eyes, I see something else. a shadow of doubt, a hint of fear. "What's wrong?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Ava's gaze falters, her eyes dropping away. "I don't know if it's safe," she says, her voice hesitant. "I don't know if we should be doing this." Kale's grip on my hand tightens, his eyes locking onto mine. I can sense his unease, his growing concern. "What do you mean?" I ask, my voice firm. Ava's eyes rise to mine, a determined spark in their depths. "I mean that we may not be the only ones who want to revive the planet," she says, her voice low and urgent. "There are those who would use its power for their own gain." I feel a chill run down my spine, a sense of foreboding. Who is Ava talking about, and what do they want with our planet? As I look into Ava's eyes, I see a glimmer of fear. And I know that we're not out of danger yet. Not by a long shot. The hum grows louder, its pitch rising to a faint whine. I can feel the air vibrate with an otherworldly energy, like the very fabric of reality is beginning to unravel. Kale's hand instinctively goes to the hilt of his sword, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. I follow his gaze, my heart pounding in my chest. The city's ruins stretch out before us, a barren expanse of destruction and decay. But there's something else, something that doesn't belong. A light begins to coalesce, a shimmering vortex that materializes on the outskirts of the city. The hum grows louder still, a deafening roar that threatens to shake us apart. I feel Kale's hand on my arm, his grip like a vice as we stare into the unknown. The light takes shape, a towering figure that emerges from the heart of the vortex. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, its body a mass of swirling energy that pulses with an electric blue light. The air around us distorts, as if reality itself is bending to accommodate this thing. "What is it?" I whisper, my voice lost in the din of the hum. Kale's face is set in a grim determination. "I don't know," he says, "but I think it's connected to the enemy." The figure raises a hand, its energy pulsating with an intense power. The hum grows louder still, a cacophony of sound that threatens to consume us whole. I feel the ground trembling beneath my feet as if the very foundations of the world are beginning to crack. Suddenly, the figure speaks, its voice like a crack of thunder that shakes the air. "You have won a great victory," it says, its words echoing through the ruins of the city. But at what cost? I feel a shiver run down my spine as the figure's gaze falls upon me. It's as if it can see into the very heart of me, can sense the doubts and fears that I've been trying to keep hidden. "The enemy was not the only foe," it continues, its voice dripping with an ancient wisdom. "There are forces at work that you cannot comprehend, forces that will bring ruin and destruction upon your world." Kale's grip on my arm tightens, his eyes locked onto mine. I can sense his fear, his uncertainty as we stare into the abyss. "What do you want from us?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. The figure's gaze never wavers. "I am the harbinger of a new era," it says. "An era of peace and destruction, of life and death. You have been chosen to bear witness to this new world, to guide it towards its destiny." The hum grows louder still, a deafening roar that threatens to consume us whole. I feel the ground trembling beneath my feet as if the very foundations of the world are beginning to crack. And then, in an instant, it's gone. The figure vanishes, the hum ceases, and the world is silent once more. I'm left standing there, my heart pounding in my chest as I try to make sense of what just happened. "What did it mean?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Kale's face is set in a grim determination. "I don't know," he says, "but I think our journey is far from over." I nod, a sense of trepidation growing within me. The enemy may be defeated, but a new threat lurks on the horizon, a threat that promises to bring ruin and destruction upon our world. And I'm not sure if we're ready to face it. The hum grows louder, its pitch increasing as it begins to vibrate through the air. I can feel it in my bones, a resonance that's both familiar and yet utterly alien. Kale's eyes are fixed on mine, his gaze piercing as if searching for answers. I take a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. The hum is now a palpable force, a living entity that's filling the space around us. The air seems to be charged with an electric tension, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. Suddenly, a shimmering light appears on the horizon. It's a tiny point, a speck of brightness that's growing in intensity. I raise a hand, shielding my eyes from the glare. What is this? I breathe, my voice barely audible over the hum. Kale's voice is low, his words tight with tension. I don't know, but I think we're about to find out. The light is now a blinding beam illuminating the devastation around us. I can feel its power, a raw energy that's building in intensity. The hum is now a deafening roar, a cacophony of sound that's threatening to consume us. I take another step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. Kale's hand closes around my arm, his grip tight as he pulls me back. "No," he whispers, his voice urgent. "We don't know what this is. We need to be careful." But it's too late. The light is now a blazing inferno, a torrent of energy that's washing over us. I feel myself being lifted off the ground, my body suspended in midair as the hum reaches a fever pitch. Everything around me is a blur, a kaleidoscope of color and sound as the world seems to unravel. I'm caught in a maelstrom of energy, a vortex of power that's threatening to consume me. And then, as suddenly as it began, everything stops. The hum ceases, the light fades, and I'm left standing, gasping for air. Kale's hand is still grasping my arm, his eyes locked on mine as we stare at each other in shock. "What just happened?" I whisper, my voice shaking. Kale's face is ashen, his eyes wide with fear. "I don't know," he says, "but I think we've just opened a door to something much bigger than we ever imagined." As he speaks, the air seems to shimmer and ripple, as if the very fabric of reality is beginning to unravel. I feel a growing sense of unease, a creeping dread that's spreading through my veins like ice. "What do you mean?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Kale's gaze is fixed on the horizon, his eyes locked on something that I can't see. "I think we've just awakened something," he says, his voice low and ominous. "Something that's been sleeping for a very long time." I follow his gaze, my heart pounding in my chest. The air seems to be growing thicker, the silence more oppressive. I can feel it, a presence lurking just out of sight, watching and waiting. And then, as if in response to Kale's words, the silence is broken by a voice. A low, rumbling voice that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "Welcome, heroes," it says. "I have been waiting for you." I spin around, my eyes scanning the horizon, but there's no one there. The voice seems to be coming from all around us, echoing off the buildings and the streets. "Who are you?" I demand, my voice firm. The voice laughs, a low, menacing sound. "I am the guardian of this world," it says, "and you heroes have just set me free." We stand frozen, our senses on high alert as the hum grows louder. It's a low, pulsing frequency that seems to vibrate through every cell in my body. The air around us begins to distort like the surface of a pond on a hot summer day. "What's happening?" I ask, my voice tight with tension. Kale's eyes are fixed on the horizon, his face set in a determined scowl. "I don't know, but I think we're about to find out." The hum reaches a crescendo, and suddenly, the air around us erupts in a burst of light and energy. I raise my arm to shield my eyes, feeling like I'm being pulled apart by some unseen force. When I open my eyes again, I'm blinded by a brilliant light. I stumble back, my hand reaching out for Kale's. He grasps it, his fingers closing around mine like a vice. As the light begins to fade, I see a figure standing before us. It's a woman, tall and statuesque, with long, flowing hair the color of the setting sun. Her eyes are like pools of pure energy, and they seem to bore into my very soul. "Who are you?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. The woman's gaze doesn't waver. "I am the guardian of this world," she says, her voice like thunder in my mind. "And you, child, have set in motion a chain of events that will determine the course of history." I feel like I've been punched in the gut. "What do you mean?" I ask, my mind reeling. The guardian's eyes narrow. "You have defeated the enemy, but you have also awakened a power that has been dormant for centuries. A power that will either save or destroy this world, depending on how it is wielded." Kale's hand tightens around mine. "What power?" he asks, his voice firm. The guardian's gaze shifts to him. "The power of the Ancient Ones," she says. A power that has been hidden in the heart of this world, waiting for the right catalyst to awaken it. I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of uncertainty. What do we need to do? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. The Guardian's eyes lock onto mine. You need to find the Ancient Ones, she says. You need to unlock their secrets and harness their power, for if you do not, the consequences will be catastrophic. The Guardian's words hang in the air like a challenge. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a precipice, staring into the unknown. But I know that I have no choice. I have to take the leap, no matter how daunting the challenge may seem. I take a deep breath, my eyes locking onto Kale's. Let's do it, I say, my voice firm. Kale nods, his face set in a determined scowl. Together, he says, we'll face whatever comes next together. The Guardian's gaze lingers on us for a moment, then vanishes into thin air. The hum dies down and the air returns to its normal stillness. But I know that nothing will ever be the same again. The fate of our world hangs in the balance, and I'm the only one who can tip the scales. The hum grows louder, vibrating through the air like a living thing. I can feel it in my bones, a thrumming energy that sets my teeth on edge. Kale's hand drifts to the hilt of his sword, his eyes scanning the horizon as if searching for some hidden threat. I follow his gaze, my heart pounding in my chest. The city lies before us, a landscape of devastation and ruin. But it's not the destruction that catches my attention, it's the strange, pulsating light that seems to be growing in intensity. The light coalesces into a figure, tall and imposing. It's humanoid in shape, but its body is a mass of swirling colors like the aurora borealis given life. The hum grows louder still, a deafening roar that threatens to consume us. Kale takes a step forward, his sword at the ready. I follow suit, my own weapon flashing in the morning light. But as we approach the figure, I realize that it's not attacking. It's waiting. The figure raises a hand and the hum ceases. The pulsating colors die down, revealing a face that's both familiar and yet completely alien. I feel a jolt of recognition, but it's fleeting. I can't quite place where I've seen this face before. Greetings, the figure says, its voice like a gentle breeze on a summer's day. I am the guardian of this world. I exchange a glance with Kale, my mind racing with questions. What is this guardian? Why has it appeared now in the aftermath of our victory? The guardian's gaze falls on me, its eyes piercing and ancient. You have brought about a great change, it says, a turning point in the history of this world. I swallow hard, unsure of what to say. Have we truly brought about peace, or have we simply traded one tyranny for another? What do you mean? Kale asks, his voice firm and resolute. The Guardian's gaze never wavers. The enemy you defeated was not the true enemy, it says. It was a symptom of a greater disease, a disease that threatens to consume this world and all others. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. What does the Guardian mean? What greater enemy lies out there, waiting to strike? The Guardian's eyes seem to bore into my very soul. You have been chosen to wield the power of the ancients, it says, to confront this greater enemy and to save the multiverse from destruction. I reel back, my mind reeling with the implications. Chosen? Me? What power do I possess that could possibly make a difference in the face of such an enormous threat? Kale's hand closes around my arm, his grip like a lifeline. We'll do it, he says, his voice firm. Together we'll face whatever comes next. I look up at him, my heart filled with determination. Together we've overcome the impossible before. Together we can face whatever the Guardian has in store for us. But as I turn back to the Guardian, I realize that we're not the only ones watching. A figure stands in the shadows, its eyes fixed on me with an unnerving intensity. And I know that our greatest challenge is only just beginning.